The World Cup final.
Champions of the world!
One shot.
Forward by Canate. What a stop! What a stop by Martínez.
One man standing between Argentina. He was once a forgotten name, a backup no one believed in. But on that night in Qatar, under the blinding lights of the World Cup final, Emiliano Martínez became Argentina's last line between heartbreak and immortality. Kylian Mbappe had already destroyed defenses, carrying France toward destiny. Messi had given everything, his goals, his tears, his career, for this one final dream. And then, the moment came. Kolo Muani broke through, one last chance, one last heartbeat. The world stopped. Martínez didn't. In a single, impossible save, he shattered Mbappe's dream and delivered Messi's. The roar that followed wasn't just victory, it was redemption, destiny, and the birth of a legend. This is the story of how a benchwarmer became a hero, and how one save changed football forever. Before the roars of stadiums, before the golden gloves and the world's spotlight, there was a boy crying alone under the Argentine sky. Emiliano Martínez was born in Mar del Plata, a modest coastal city in Argentina. His family wasn't rich. His father worked tirelessly. His mother stretched every peso just to keep food on the table. Football wasn't just a dream for young Emi, it was a way out. But even as a child, there was something different about him. While others dreamed of scoring goals, he dreamed of saving them. His small hands would dive into the muddy fields after every shot, covered in dirt, but filled with determination. When he was 17, his life changed. Arsenal, one of England's biggest clubs, came calling. A dream, right? Not exactly. He left home in tears, his mother's arms clinging to him at the airport. He barely spoke English, had no family in London, no friends, only hope. He thought he was stepping into glory. Instead, he walked straight into loneliness. At Arsenal, he was just another young name on the list, another backup who'd never see the pitch. For years, he sat quietly behind legends. Szczęsny, Cech, Leno. Every season began with promise and ended with the same view, the bench. Loan after loan followed. Oxford, Rotherham, Wolves, Getafe. Different shirts, same story. Always temporary, always replaceable. But behind that calm face was a storm. Every call home to Argentina ended the same way, or with tears. Moom, I promise I'll make it. Just give me time. Time. That cruel enemy of forgotten footballers. 10 years passed. 10 years of watching others live his dream. 10 years of standing in the shadows, clapping for others while his own destiny gathered dust. Most players would have given up, but not him. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the frustration, beneath the silence, there was a fire, the kind that only grows when the world doubts you. And then, fate finally blinked. June 2020. Arsenal's first-choice goalkeeper, Bernd Leno, goes down injured against Brighton. For a moment, the Emirates Stadium falls silent. Then, a number flashes on the sideline. 26, Martínez. The forgotten man walks toward the pitch. Gloves tight, heartbeat louder than the crowd. The moment he's waited a decade for has finally arrived. After 10 years in the dark, the dreamer finally saw the light. By 2021, Emiliano Martínez had already rewritten the story of his own life. From years of invisibility and rejection, he had risen at Aston Villa, commanding the goal like a man possessed. Yet, the world outside England still barely knew his name. Then came Copa America 2021, Argentina's chance to reclaim international glory, and Messi's last shot at lifting a major trophy for his nation. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Every player carried the weight of history, every fan carried hope, and every misstep could shatter dreams. In the semifinal against Colombia, the unthinkable happened. The match went to a penalty shootout. Argentina's fate teetered on a knife's edge. Martínez, once the quiet observer, became the storm. He taunted, he laughed, he prowled the line like a predator. Dibu the monster was born. "I'm going to eat you, hermano," he whispered to a Colombian striker, a grin on his face. And when the ball came, he stretched, dived, and saved Argentina's dream. Not once, but twice, the nation erupted. Messi finally lifted the Copa America, tears streaming down his face, but the hero was Martínez. The quiet man who had spent a decade unseen had become a national savior. Yet, with fame came controversy. Critics called him arrogant, obnoxious, even disrespectful. Some laughed at his celebrations, some mocked his antics. But Emiliano didn't care. He knew what he had become. The man Argentina needed, a villain to their rivals, a hero to his own people, sharpening his claws for the ultimate challenge still to come, the World Cup. The world's eyes were on Qatar 2022, and Argentina's dream hung by a thread. Emiliano Martínez, once the forgotten benchwarmer, now stood between his nation and heartbreak. Every save, every dive, every command from his goal carried the weight of millions of hopes, of Messi's legacy, of a country desperate for glory. The Netherlands quarterfinal became his stage of legend. When the match spiraled into a penalty shootout, the tension was unbearable. Martínez, unshaken, paced the line, studying the strikers with the gaze of a predator. One by one, he denied them, stretching impossibly, diving impossibly, mocking them with subtle smiles that made the stadium roar. Argentina advanced. His team celebrated, but the world noticed the fire in his eyes, a mix of triumph and defiance that would define him forever. Then came the final against France, December 18, 2022. The Lusail Stadium stood beneath a golden sky, the air thick with history. 90,000 voices trembled, because this wasn't just a final, it was a battle for destiny. One half praying for Messi's fairy tale, the other for Mbappe's empire. On one side, Lionel Messi, chasing the one crown that had always escaped him. On the other, Kylian Mbappe, the young king ready to take his throne. Emiliano Martínez, the boy who had once watched finals from a bench in England, now stood on the world's biggest stage. From the very first whistle, Argentina played not with tactics, but with heart. Every pass carried the weight of a dream 36 years old. Messi, calm, radiant, divine, glided across the pitch. And when Di Maria drew the penalty, time seemed to stop. Messi stepped up. The world held its breath. One step, one strike, one goal, 1-0. The dream had begun. Moments later, a lightning counter. Messi flicked, Julian Alvarez surged, and Alexis McAllister fed Di Maria goal. 2-0, Argentina. Di Maria wept. Messi smiled like a child. For 70 minutes, Argentina danced. France were shadows, lost, silent, suffocating. But football is cruel. Out of nowhere, France awoke, like a beast remembering it had claws. In the 85th minute, Kolo Muani burst into the box. Otamendi dragged him down. Penalty. Mbappe stepped forward. The sound in Lusail died. He struck goal, 2-1. And then, before Argentina could even breathe, another. A 1-2. The ball floats high. Mbappe, the volley perfection. 2-2. The dream collapsed in seconds. The faces of Messi, Scaloni, the fans, all said the same thing. Not again. Extra time began like a prayer. Messi, exhausted, pushed through pain. In the 108th minute, he found the rebound, and with trembling legs, struck it home. 3-2. The stadium erupted. He roared. It was written, or so they thought, but France refused to die. A handball from Montiel, another penalty. Mbappe again. Hat trick. 3-3. Heartbreak again. A World Cup final balanced on a knife's edge. Then came the 123rd minute, the moment that would decide history. A long ball. Kolo Muani threw on goal. No defenders, just him and Emiliano Martínez. For a split second, the world froze. Muani fired low and hard, pure, perfect, deadly, destiny in motion. And then, a miracle. Martínez stretched his leg like time itself had paused for him. The ball struck his foot, salvation in motion. In that moment, he didn't just save a goal. He saved a dream 36 years in the making. He stretched his left leg wide, a human wall. The ball struck his foot, salvation. The rebound flew away into the night. If that ball had gone in, Messi's dream would have died. But Dibu Martínez said no. Not today, not ever. Moments later, in the penalty shootout, he became a monster, saving, dancing, roaring. Every save, every taunt, every scream. A lifetime of pain turning into pride. When Montiel buried the final penalty, Martínez fell to his knees. Messi's tears flowed. Argentina's roar shook the desert. They had done it. Messi had his crown. Argentina had their redemption. And at the heart of it all stood Emiliano Martínez, the man who refused to let destiny take what his people had already claimed. That one save against Kolo Muani didn't just win a match. It changed everything. It turned defeat into glory. It turned Messi's last dance into immortality. And he turned into a forgotten goalkeeper, into a legend. Moments later, Messi lifted the World Cup, his final act of glory, his immortal crown. But behind the tears, the cheers, and the golden light, one truth remained. If not for Emiliano Martínez, the story would have ended in tragedy. He wasn't born a hero. He became one, when the world needed him most. The benchwarmer from Mar del Plata had just written football's most beautiful ending.